Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel, your source for all things Everton. My name's Cal, and I'm joined by Alex tonight, and we are going to be previewing tomorrow's huge game against Newcastle United in what really is a big relegation six-pointer. It's one of those season-defining games, you could say, but it's easy to forget that we still have 18 games remaining of the season on the back of a really positive result at the weekend in the FA Cup. So yeah, we're going to be diving into all that and see where it takes us. Alex, thanks for jumping on with us, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. How are you doing?
Yeah, all good, mate. Okay, so Newcastle United tomorrow night. I think it's a lot more positive. There's a lot of optimism coming out the club, not only since the weekend, but that whole week leading up to the Brentford game. You know, the Rafa Benitez era is over. We've got new signings coming in. You know, it's been a breath of fresh air, hasn't it, really? So how are you looking at things going into that game tomorrow night? Because I'd imagine you're a lot more confident than if I asked you this question about 2 weeks ago.
Oh, definitely, mate. Yeah, I think it's a strange one, of course, because obviously both sides have reasons to be optimistic that wouldn't have been apparent just a few weeks ago. Of course, Newcastle spending the money that they have, but yeah, I think Saturday gave a lot of positives. I think for all of us to say a lot of signs that we're going to be able to pull away from this. And like I think a lot of us was really starting to worry, especially after the Norwich defeat, that we really wouldn't have enough to stay up this season. It was getting that bad, but yeah, definitely much more positive signs. The players seem to have responded very well to Lampard coming in. We seem to be playing in a style that suits us a lot better, and yeah, I'm confident we can get the result tomorrow.
Yeah, and you made a really good point there, didn't you? There's reasons for both sides to be optimistic because obviously we've had the whole managerial change, the backroom staff, the two really positive signings of Van der Beek and Dele Alli. But let's not forget Newcastle themselves have made some really good additions to their squad, haven't they? So it's easy to forget that they'll be going into that game tomorrow night. Well, first and foremost, they need to win it themselves. They're just as much in a relegation battle as we are, but they'll have the home fans behind them. It'll be St James's Park under the lights for them. They'll be seeing new signings, some big money signings as well, by the way. So we have to be careful of that, don't we? That Newcastle will definitely be up for this game. We've got to be wary of that and not just think that it's going to be a breeze with just our optimism.
Definitely, yeah. Like you say, it's both sides will be confident going into this one now. Whereas, like I say, the situation probably would have been quite different with both sides almost dreading it a few weeks ago. But yeah, they've bought well. There's their side's a lot better than it was at the start of January. And of course, you've got to remember that we had the game postponed with them at the end of December as well. So we've got to play them again, of course, in a few weeks at Goodison. So that'll be interesting. Of course, it would have been a very different Newcastle than the one we'll be taking on in a few weeks and the one that we're taking on tomorrow. But St James's Park is actually a ground where our record's actually not that bad. We usually struggle a lot on the road, but last years at St James's Park we haven't actually been too bad. So yeah, I think I'm a lot more confident now, and I think I think it'll be a good game tomorrow for us.
Yeah, hopefully, mate. Hopefully. So, of course, we are live on YouTube, so be sure to drop us a like if you haven't done already. A few people in the comments. Erwin Koeman says hello, Erwin. Willie Moy says, evening, guys. This is going to be some match tomorrow. DCL's back and new signings. 2-1 to the Toffees. Yeah, let's talk about the new signings. Obviously, they couldn't play the weekend. Donny van der Beek and Dele Alli, they were cup tied. So, a lot of fans will be eager to see them. Do you think Lampard's going to throw them straight in? Is it going to be substitutions? I think we'll definitely see them. I think a lot of fans will be expecting to see Van der Beek and Dele Alli. So where do you see the two new additions fitting into this lineup tomorrow?
Well, it's a difficult one, isn't it? You're not really too sure because it probably depends on what sort of system Lampard wants to go with, and of course, injury to Ben Godfrey means that we might be a bit short-staffed if we're going to carry on going with 5 at the back or 3 at the back, 3-4-3, however you want to look at it. But so it might be a case that we try out the 3 centre mids against Newcastle tomorrow, like a lot of our fans have been crying out for, and of course that almost matches Newcastle's system as well, of course. So that might be something to look at, and you'd think then that at least one of them would be starting the game. I'd probably lean more towards Van der Beek. I think it might be a 3-man midfield of because you can't really drop Allen or Gomez because both of them played so well on Saturday. No. So and yeah, it might be a case of Van der Beek starting and maybe Ali getting the last 20 minutes or something like that. But like you say, I think both will definitely feature at some point, even if neither of them start. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, definitely, and let's not forget that you made another good point there as well. You look at players like Alan and Andre Gomez who had really good games the weekend, didn't they? And I think a lot of them, I struggled to pick out one of them who had a really bad game against Brentford. I thought they were really impressive. So, there's people who will be looking to impress Lampard. There's players who have already impressed Lampard in that game. Andre Gomez had the best game that I've seen in a really long while. I'd even go as far to say probably the best game he's had since that injury he suffered. Alan, again, he's come under a bit of stick recently as well, hasn't he? But I thought he really dictated the tempo in that midfield. Of course, the ball over for Richarlison and the second goal was great as well. So it's good to see that finally there's a bit of optimism surrounding our midfield options. And, you mentioned Van der Beek and Ali there. So if we can use them, they are going to be players who can hit Newcastle. Another point you mentioned there, Ben Godfrey, is obviously unfortunately went out injured in Frank Lampard's press conference today. He did say that it's looking like it's going to be about 4 to 5 weeks, maybe. Hopefully, it's not going to be too much longer than that. Obviously, we have got good options there, I suppose, in Yerry Mina, Jared Branthwaite maybe, but obviously the worry with Mina is always his fitness, isn't it? So what do you think is going to be the defensive startup tomorrow? Do you think we're going to see? Is it going to be Keane and Mina? Do you think it's going to be back 4, back 5 again, or what do you think is going to be the sort of lay of the land in terms of the defence?
So there is a part of me that reckons that he will just he'll go with the team pretty much to finish off against Brentford because it's the most logical thing to do, really, isn't it?
That team, I agree.
The team played so well. Why would you change it? So I'd suggest that all three, Mina, Keane, and Holgate will start, and then you've just got Brandt for it as an option. Which it worries me a little bit, like you say about Mina being injury prone and that, and Keane and Holgate were both solid enough on Saturday, but they are prone to errors. But we've just kind of got to make do with it at this point, because short-staffed, and I'm sure it'll be an issue that's addressed in the summer, that the lack of options in defence.
Yeah, you mentioned errors there, and we have seen too many times this season. There's been too many mistakes in this Everton side, and too many players, and a lot of the goals we have conceded this season have been silly errors that can be avoided. So it's really important that we start to cut those out of our games, especially in a match that's as big as tomorrow night. I just want to talk a bit about Dominic Calvert-Lewin, because it's looking like he's going to be back in the squad for tomorrow. Obviously missed out through a little injury at the weekend. Obviously, Richarlison played up front against Brentford, did really well, got on the score sheet, and had a really good game overall. He was busy, and it's everything that we want to see from Richarlison. But do you see Calvert-Lewin going straight into the 11 tomorrow?
I've mentioned. I think we'll start with the same team that finished against Brentford. So I think he'll probably make the bench. I imagine he'll be given some minutes. And to be fair, it does kind of feel like the type of game that wouldn't really suit him. And you think about Newcastle, like quite a physical defence. Obviously, they've added Dan Burn to their ranks. Very tall, physical defender. Lascelles at the back as well, of course. So you think Calvert-Lewin, he's not quite been the same since his long-term injury. Still, finding his feet, and obviously that will come, of course, with sharpness. So nothing to worry about too much there. But I think he'll probably get some minutes. But no, I don't see him starting. I think it'll be
let's not forget as well. I feel like with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, obviously you mentioned the injury there, which is true. He's had a difficult injury. He's had a hard time of it, but in the few games that he has been back, he's not looked his sharpest, has he? I mean, okay, we've got to remember that he has come back from an injury, but if you're looking at players like Richarlison and attacking players, I know they play slightly different positions, but attacking threats like Gordon and Gray, these are players who seem to be full of confidence at the moment, in form, and there is, I suppose, an argument there that Calvert-Lewin doesn't have some God-given right to go straight into that side anyway. When you've got Richarlison, who we know is a confidence player, who seems to be at his best when he's getting in amongst the goals, so he'll be hungry to add to his tally for this season tomorrow night. But just on the game itself, Alex, it's huge, isn't it? It's a massive game. It seems like the manager's very reluctant to sort of drill home too much that we are in a relegation fight. I think we very much are at this moment, at its present moment in time. I feel like that Norwich defeat, as you mentioned before, was devastating. It really was, and obviously it marked the end of Rafa Benitez's tenure. Things are a lot more positive going into this game, but in the short term, we're still very much left to pick up the pieces of Rafa Benitez's time at the club, aren't we? So So obviously, massive game, isn't it? If we are going to pull away from these positions, we've got to be beating the teams around us, haven't we? So, but again, as we mentioned earlier in the stream, same can be said for both sides. So it is a huge 6 points, Alex, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, we're on a run of fixtures right now where the wins need to come now. Basically, it's towards April and May we have much trickier fixtures and fixtures that even in the best of form will struggle to get 3 points out of. And so the wins need to come now. You know, we've got Newcastle on Tuesday, Leeds on Saturday. These are all teams around us. And I think we've got Burnley soon as well towards the bottom of the table. So this is the time where the wins need to be coming. And when you think about it like that, it couldn't really have been a much better time for Lampard to come in and all his optimism to suddenly come in and for us to be a different I can't think of the word, but to be a type of team that like oppositions will be trying to work us out now. Of course, we're implementing a very different style. I think we kind of almost blew Brentford away with that, to be honest.
Yeah.
On Saturday, this pressing, more possession-based style rather than the kind of reactive system that we had under Benitez and under Ancelotti to an extent. We've never really dominated matches under Ancelotti. And so we're a different beast now, is what it is. And I think for these few weeks, teams are going to be unsure what to expect from us. And I think with that and with the optimism, with the confidence that the players seem to have on Saturday, definitely, they seem to be enjoying this new style of football a lot more and embracing just how good the atmosphere was and stuff like that. So it couldn't really come at a better time. And we do need to get these 3 points over the board, but I think confidence really could not be higher in us getting it done.
Yeah, and you look at that game at the weekend against Brentford, and of course the FA Cup in itself is something we all really want to do well in. But for me, it was really important that we had that fixture, just to sort of bed Lampard in at Goodison, so it wasn't straight into this relegation dogfight. We were able to go to Goodison, get the fans back on side, get players in form, playing well, confident, and just playing with a bit more freedom. And it just makes the world of a difference, doesn't it, going into this Newcastle game? Because there's not sort of that's sort of not knowing what to expect. We've had a bit of taste of Lampard's football. We've had a bit of a taste of how the players respond to his management. And that's a luxury, I think, having that opportunity to play that Brentford game before the Newcastle game. It can only be a good thing. And if we can pick up the 3 points, even if we get a point, I feel like we do, obviously we need to win these games. But if we don't lose, and we go, obviously we've got Leeds at Goodison on Saturday. If we can go into that Leeds game on the back of a positive result, then we can really start building on that going into next weekend, can't we?
Yeah, it's performances that I think fans more than anything react to, and of course, like if we continue to show like the market sign of improvement as we saw on Saturday, then I think fans will continue to respond to that, even if, like you say, we don't get the win. And of course, it's another game for the players to get used to this new system and stuff like that, and they've already responded well to it. And like you say, having a game like that where they could do it, I mean, you can't really call it a free hit. Obviously, the FA Cup's still a very important competition for us.
Yeah, I agree.
At the end of the day, but almost like a free hit, like a game, 90 minutes to get under your belt, get used to this new system, and we can only really grow from here, to be honest.
Yeah, and if we can get a win tomorrow, it'll do wonders for the club. Really, going into that Leeds game, everything will just look so much brighter, because it's so easy to forget that it wasn't long ago, was it, where we just didn't know where the club was going at all. And let's not forget, there's still big problems at the top of the club. Of course there is, but it was just nice, wasn't it? Just that Brentford game to have everyone just pulling in the same direction. No one was divided. Everyone was up for it. Everyone had the same cause, and taking that into that match tomorrow night is going to be vital, isn't it? And if we can win, and we don't have a bad record up there, as you mentioned previously, Alex, do we? I mean, I remember early in Ancelotti's tenure, we had a really good win up there. 2-1, Calvert-Lewin scored twice. I was at that game myself. Great atmosphere, great day. Obviously last year under COVID at St James's, I think again we got beat 2-1 that time. And then I think Newcastle beat us at Goodison Park as well last year, but every team under the sun beat us at Goodison Park last year, so it doesn't really make much of a difference. But it's a winnable game, isn't it, Alex? It is a winnable game on paper, man for man. Despite Newcastle's new signings, I do believe we possess the quality to go there and beat them. And it's just, I think the overriding factor going into this game is confidence, Alex, isn't it? You know, the confidence that we got from the weekend might be the difference for us.
Yeah, exactly that. And of course, like you say, like it will be just such a massive boost, and it's hard to imagine, but if we do win tomorrow, that's 2 wins like in a row, and that matches how many wins we've got in God knows how long. You're going back to
Yeah.
like September. Like wins have been really hard to come by. So even just 2 wins, like to start Lampard's reign off, like it could not be bigger, and like the fans will just be absolutely buzzing about it. And it's such you're going almost back to like your days of like your Martinez and your Moyes, just kind of like younger, inspiring manager and stuff like that, and getting off to a good start that and playing a system that fans respond to. We love the heavy press, like, and the energy, and the creative like possession based football and stuff like that, and that's exactly what gets fans inspired. And but obviously you've got to consider results as well, of course. So especially at a time like this, and as you say, with like important fixtures around us. But yeah, to get another win on the board tomorrow, yeah, it could not be more important.
Yeah, and listen, it's going to be tight. I know Lampard's only had one game, and we've got a long way to go under his tenure yet. But if the signs were there at the weekend, weren't we? The signs were there that we can certainly build on that. But it's Lampard's first Premier League game for us. Start away from home. It's going to be tricky. It is going to be tricky. We mentioned at the start of the stream, Newcastle have their own reasons for needing to win the game, but also their own reasons for being confident with their activity in the transfer window. But we can only focus on ourselves, can't we? And the manager mentioned this in the press conference. We can only deal with what's in front of us. I feel like listening to Lampard speak, he does fill me with a lot of confidence, and we are going to go to Newcastle with a game plan. And I have confidence. Paul mentioned this on the stream last night, is that he has confidence in the backroom staff. He has confidence in the coaches, the management, that we will actually go into games with a plan, with some kind of unpredictability, maybe you could say, as you alluded to before. The teams might not be able to work us out, and we're going to throw in something different. And it's exciting, isn't it? It's exciting. I'm really looking forward to the match tomorrow night, but it's a huge game. It's a huge game. And if we can get the 3 points, we then go into a very favourable looking Leeds United game at Goodison Park, where I'm sure the fans will be right up for that. So yeah, just before we wrap it up, Alex, predictions. What's your prediction for tomorrow night?
I reckon, I think it'll be a bit scrappier this time. Like it was quite an open game, I thought, and yeah, I definitely thought. I think there'll be less chances, and I think there'll be a bit more restrictive. So I reckon I'll go for a 2-1. 2-1 for us.
Yeah, I was going to say 2-1 as well. To be honest, I think 2-1. I think it's going to be a tight game. Both teams have reasons to be needing to win this game, but it will do us the world of good. If we can get 3 points tomorrow, we will literally be on cloud nine going into the game at the weekend, and hopefully it just further adds to us turning the corner in this season finally, and ending the season positively and getting away from that relegation zone. Yeah, Alex, thank you for joining me tonight. Big thanks to everyone for tuning in. Thanks everyone if you haven't already. Drop a like, subscribe if you haven't done already. Yeah, fingers crossed for tomorrow night. Huge game, massive game. Lampard's first match as Everton manager in the Premier League. Yeah, if we see even a fragment of what these players did at the weekend, just a little bit more positivity, then we certainly stand the chance of coming away from Newcastle with some form of points. So yeah, big thanks to Alex for coming on. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we shall see you next time on the Toffee Blues. Yeah, so fingers crossed for 3 points. Thanks for tuning in. Bye now.